So we're here with Luke Parker, which, first of all, you're like, who's Luke Parker? He's not in CrossFit. True, you probably don't know him from CrossFit.
No.
You get recognized.
Probably not.
You get recognized in airports for something different, obviously.
Yes,
Tell me, first of all, who is Luke Parker?
Not Luke P.
Yeah, heck yeah. I think when you came to my house, Kelly didn't actually know what your last name was. She just used Luke P. And I'm like,
hilarious.
Luke Parker? What, Luke P? What are you calling that for? So, first of all, like, how people might know you, and then we'll get into some other stuff.
All right, cool. Yeah, so the whole Bachelorette thing, now that's how people know me.
Sure.
That's how people know Luke Parker is Luke P. So I did go on the reality TV show, The Bachelorette. And, yeah, that was a very learning and growing experience for me. But it was, I got to do a lot of cool things. I got to travel around Europe. Yeah. Go to some awesome places.
Had you traveled a bunch before then? Like, were you kind of a world traveler?
Not really at all, to be honest.
Yeah.
I traveled a lot around the U.S.
Sure.
But I've only been to Haiti and the Bahamas twice the Bahamas, once to Haiti.
Semi-close to the United States, like not too far away.
Yeah.
And now you're
and then I'm like been to Scotland, Latvia, like Amsterdam, like Greece. I got some Europe under my belt.
Yeah, you got some cool stamps in your passport right now.
For sure.
Some sick stamps.
I'm feeling baller right now with the passport stamps.
Cool. Okay, so let's get into it. Like, we're going to talk about a little bit of The Bachelorette probably, but probably not a whole lot. I know later on my wife is really going to sit down with you because I'm not going to sit here and feign like I'm the most intelligent man at the show. Yeah. So my wife's going to sit down with you, which is going to actually be awesome since she's never actually interviewed someone before. So that's going to be interesting.
It will be awesome.
She's going to fangirl you the whole time. All right, so let's talk about your fitness background. Like, we talked about who Luke P is. Like, where are you from? Luke?
So I was born in Ocala, Florida. I actually grew up in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida, so like Jacksonville, Florida area, northeast part of Florida. And now I live in North Georgia, so sports background.
Sure.
Played baseball and football in high school, baseball 4 years of college, hung up my cleats, was looking for something competitive. That's how I got into CrossFit. And that transition from graduating college is when I moved up to North Georgia just to be closer to my brother and his family and everything. So that's why on the show it says I'm from Gainesville, Georgia.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I'm at now in North Georgia. So
yeah. And so is it like required as a collegiate baseball player? Is it required to wear your sunglasses around your neck?
Yeah.
I was like, you showed up at the gym yesterday and I'm like,
baseball.
For sure. I was like, I haven't creeped on him a lot on Instagram. If I did, I would admit it to you right now. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, total baseball player.
Yeah, these Oakley radars, when you see kids wear these, you know they're a baseball player.
Or they're a NASCAR pit crew. Okay, cool. So you obviously, college football, you can please take them off now.
All right.
So you're a college football player. I'm sorry, college baseball player. You played high school football, high school baseball, college baseball, and then you stopped playing baseball. Let's talk about like what that looked like after college. Like you finished your last game, you hung your cleats up, and like, did you have that moment where you're like, what now? Like, did you like, I'm playing slow pitch softball for the rest of my life? Like, let's hear about that.
100%. Yeah, it hit me because, growing up, everyone's dream, right, is to do whatever, sport they want professionally. And I pictured myself being in the big leagues one day and just not put on a Yankee uniform. Anyway, so
Kelly's a Yankee fan.
Oh, no way.
Oh, yeah, totally way.
I'll keep my mouth shut. No, but yeah, so like hanging up my cleats, I'm like, man, because I really thought, I was going to have an opportunity to get drafted. That didn't work out, and, that was it for me. So I was like, well, what now?
Sure.
And, a little bit of a conversation that you and I had previously was like, well, like I need to find something because I'm so competitive.
Sure.
That like as a vice or like kind of just therapy, something where I can kind of take some anger out on something, which usually for me was the weight room because I'd like to get after it with training for my sport. Yeah. And yeah, so I started searching for something. I did some triathlons with my brother. And a little bit of
you did a half Ironman. Like don't put yourself down and be like, I did a triathlon. You did a half Ironman.
We did train for a half Ironman.
You did a half Ironman.
Yeah, I did do.
Okay, yeah. You have to say train and did it. Like, don't just not say that.
Yeah, that was intense. That was like the hardest thing I've ever done, for sure. Yeah, I was like, that was intense. I had like all down my right leg at like mile 10 was like every muscle in my right leg was cramping. I thought I trained enough. No way. Did train a lot though. But yeah, in that same process though, as I'm like approaching that half Ironman, like last October, That's actually when I was joining a local box.
Yeah.
And my first ever CrossFit workout was Murph, and I did it unpartitioned and threw on the weighted vest. Didn't know what grips were. Never really hung on a bar before.
So, but
like
this
that.
is like, is this just like the class is doing Murph today, or is it
it's
like Memorial Day?
No, it's
So
Memorial Murph.
Did you know that Memorial Day Murph was a thing when you showed up at this gym?
No.
Okay, so you showed up at this CrossFit gym.
I knew who Michael Murphy was
Sure.
because I'm big into like those kind of movies and stuff. So
Yeah.
I saw Lone Survivor and I'm like, this dude's bad to the bone. I'd
Yeah.
love to do a workout to support him.
Absolutely.
Like, big supporter of like our troops and everything in the military, and I had no idea what the workout was though.
Okay.
I did watch it at the games, but I didn't know that was Murph.
You're like, why
So
are
I'm
these kids
thinking-
falling over the heat? They're a bunch of chumps.
Exactly. I'm like, these dudes are suffering, like about to pass out on this hot turf,
I could
and they're
do
in their
this.
vests. But I had no idea that was Murph. So
Sure.
I'm going to this workout going, all right, what are we doing? It can't be bad. Yeah, I was wrong.
So but hold on, rewind. Like, did someone invite you to the gym for Memorial Day, or did someone did you show up right?
I did show up to the gym, and the owner, Jesse Foster, good friend of mine,
Yeah.
still to this day. So he really, because he has classes that you kind of get accustomed to CrossFit.
An on-ramp class, yeah.
Right, exactly. So he met with me, and usually people take the on-ramp class no matter what.
But not you.
Yeah, he was like, all right, well, I want to see your movement quality. And I was like,
Sure.
I've got a little bit of a background. I play high school football. I've done like snatches with light weight before in my past, and cleans and like some deadlifts before, and back squats, obviously. And he saw me move around, do some movements. And he's like, all right, I think you're ready to go in the class.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, I'm in Murph, and my hands are bleeding.
So he's throwing you to the wolves. All right, so you start Murph. You have a 20-pound weight vest. Did they tell you like you can or cannot wear? You can do whatever you want. Like you were like, no, give me that weight
No,
vest.
he's like, you don't have to, but if you want to make it harder, like RX is a 20-pound weight vest, and I'm like, oh, I got this. I got the weight. I'm gonna put on the weight vest. And then I got a fat piece of humble pie.
Oh, dude, just served up in a platter,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Oh, that's really funny. So that was your first class.
Yeah.
And so when you finished that Murph, did you think, wow, this is stupid? Because I'm sure like every year we do Murph for Memorial Day,
Yeah.
Kelly always complains because and most people do because we usually don't do that many pull-ups in a day.
Yeah.
And so that many pull-ups, it's hard to lock your arm out. And so every year she does it, she's like, I can't lock my arms out. So did you have the same? Did you
Can't
get done with
move
it and
my
think,
arms.
yeah, like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. Or what was your thoughts when you were done with it?
When I was done with
Yeah,
it?
done with Murph.
Well, I'm sitting there, my hands are on fire. They're bleeding, like torn to my palms. And I'm just thinking, like, dudes do this.
With grips, though, guys. I'm going to clarify.
And
with
they
grips.
get paid for this.
Yeah.
Like, this is professional sport. And they can take this on a regular basis? Like, these dudes are savages. And then in my mind, I'm like, what? I think I could be one of these dudes.
You're like,
But I won't lie. I was questioning the whole sport altogether, and if that was going to be my last workout.
That's like the worst workout. We were talking about it earlier about like how everyone's first with the first time we show up at CrossFit, what'd you actually do? And most people are like, oh, I did Fran, which is always like funny to us.
Yeah.
But I've never heard someone say their first workout was Murph because honestly, they only ever do it on Memorial Day. Like no one's
Yeah.
just like, oh, Thursday we do Murph. Like,
Yeah, like what are the chances? Right?
yeah. That's really funny actually, and quite sad. It's actually a miracle you stay with the sport, to be honest. Yeah. I'm sure you'll be like, I'm leaving. Okay, so you first started CrossFit. We already talked about that. Your first class was Murph. Let's get into, since then, after that, you decided, obviously, I want to compete in this sport. Even though your hands are bleeding like savages,
Yeah.
you're thinking, I still want to compete in this sport and try to take my hand this and do something. Because like you mentioned, you probably were like, done with college sports, slowest pitch softball isn't really your thing.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, CrossFit, I'm taking a whack at it. So let's hear kind of how that started. Like you obviously trained, you did the Open last year, and then you couldn't finish it. So kind of just talk about that a little bit, and then we'll get into like this year.
Yeah. So the last Open, 19.1 through 5.
Mm-hmm.
I did 19.1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And then right after 3, like the next day, I didn't have time to repeat it or anything.
Sure.
I flew out to LA for the Bachelorette, and we had to start filming.
Mm.
But yeah, to kind of answer your question with the whole competitive thing and kind of touch on that, I, like we were talking about earlier as well, just about how awesome CrossFit is for everyone.
Mm.
And I've seen it totally impact people's lives of just helping enable them to be able to move better and lose weight, feel better. And, you know, when you look better, feel better, you move around better, I mean, that's just better life quality, right? And I'm a firm believer in functional fitness training, no matter, you know, what realm that's in, CrossFit or whatever. And functional fitness group community training really sparked me up, and that's really what got me fired up about CrossFit, was really the community and the culture. And I was all about it. And I just felt like, you know, man, this is something that I would really love to be a part of for a long time. Not to mention, I'm a huge competitor. And I just also as well, like, I know it's funny whenever someone comes up, I'm sure you've had a bunch of people come up to you, and every gym coach and owner's had someone come up to them and go, you know what, like, hey, how are you? Like, I'm new to this sport and I want to go to the games. Absolutely. And usually people are like, this dude has no idea what they're talking about or what that takes or anything. And, you know, I was kind of that guy, but part of that was because, you know, I really just want to show people that if they have a dream or anything that they want to accomplish, that they can do it. And, like, I know, like, if I don't go to the games, which, okay, if I don't, I want it to be because I didn't, not because of anything that I can control, whether it was my effort or anything that, like I said, that was a controllable variable. I want to try to put in everything that I can to put myself there. And if I don't make it because I'm not genetically gifted enough.
Too tall, whatever the case may be.
Exactly, or whatever. I'm totally okay with that. I just want to reach my genetic potential, and I want to help push and just really remind and motivate people that, like, if they put their mind to anything that they want, they can achieve it. They just need to put their mind to it and commit to it. And that's something that, like, really, with the community and wanting to help people be a better version of themselves and to kind of motivate people, that's kind of like what I'm pursuing with that.
Okay, so then you didn't get to finish out 2019 Open. Okay.
Right.
So you never did 19.4 with burpees and snatches and burpees and bar muscle ups.
No.
Is it because you didn't like burpees? You never retested it?
I like burpees.
We did burpees this morning, so I guess
like
I could see that.
Well.
Okay, so fast forward, you did the Bachelorette, and now we're in the 2020 season.
Yes.
So, what does that look like now? Like, what are your goals going? Like, what do you want to do for the 2020 season? I know you have probably some sanctionals you want to go to. Like, let's talk about 2020 season.
Definitely. So I'm training at Travis Mayer's gym.
Shout out. Training think tank.
Mayer. Training think tank. CrossFit
Our
Passion.
boy.
Yes. I love it. So Max Alhaj is the head coach.
Yep.
Well, I've been there, and there's a few athletes there that approached me about like 8 months ago, and they asked me if I was interested in team. So I worked out with them a few times, and I told them I'd let them know, and then I was like, you know what, like, I think this would really benefit me, just on my experience with the sport and just altogether getting experience on the competition floor, which is something that I have zero experience with. I've been to a few local comps, but which local competitions, I'm not bashing them whatsoever when I say this, because they're phenomenal.
No.
And, you know, any competition atmosphere, you know, you're going to push harder than you would.
Sure.
And that's just the reality.
I mean, last night we had 5 of us in the barn working out. That, to me, is a local competition.
Yeah,
like, you're working out with 5 other dudes having a good time. Doesn't matter. There's no prize money.
Yeah, but you're competing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, for sure.
We were actually competing for dinner last night, so I don't know why. I don't even know why we fed you last night, to be honest. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, so
you're talking about small local comps.
I'm getting off track here.
Yeah,
pretty much what I'm trying to say is my goal for the 2020 Open is really to do well, do the best that I'm capable of doing for my team, so that we can qualify for some of these sanctionals and just get some experience together as a team. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting more competition experience under my belt, because the Open is exactly like what we're talking about in your barn when we're competing against each other.
So if you had a choice to go to one individual sanctional, you would choose? Say it.
That's a good question.
Say it. You said it to me yesterday.
I want to go to Panda Land.
Panda Fit or Panda. That's the second person I've interviewed. Hunter McIntyre was the other guy who literally, I said, what individual you want to go to? He goes, Panda Land.
Panda Land.
Like, I don't know. I think he just thinks it's the name. He's like, I think there's pandas everywhere. Like, I don't know why you guys are choosing Panda Land.
If there's pandas you could pet.
Cool. Okay, so you're looking forward to the Open, and then from the Open, just kind of playing from ear there, whether a sanctional you go to for team or a sanctional you go to for individual, kind of play from the ear, and then probably spend this year. I mean, to be honest, like, there's a lot of sanctionals. Like, there's a lot of opportunity this year to go. Like, you seem to. I mean, I tend to hear a lot of people. Like, for instance, Chandler Smith is a great example. Chandler Smith did not expect to go to the games last year. He was planning for 2020. But, like the season has changed, and therefore there's more opportunities for Games athletes to get there in different ways. Via Sanctionals for him was a Rogue Invitational.
Right.
And so, like, you could sit here and talk about it and say, Luke Parker could say, I'm not calling you Luke P. Luke Parker could say, you're welcome. Luke Parker could say, I'm just going to treat this year as kind of like a learning year. But you'd be surprised. Like, you might go to a Sanctional in Pandaland, and, like, there are some workouts that you're great at. Like, there's some snatching, and there's maybe not a whole lot of handstand pushes, and you smash, and you do really well, and you end up at the games. Like, you'd be super surprised. Like, that's the season we're kind of in right now. Like, so kind of cool.
Yeah, but Ant Haynes is out there, and
yeah, but Ant Haynes is going to be the national champion of China.
Ooh, you're right.
So it doesn't really matter. He's off the docket. Like, you don't have to compete with him. Who cares about Ant?
That's true.
We love you, Ant, but
Yeah, you're stud.
okay. Not counting Bachelorette, worst, because I'm pretty sure your worst date ever is actually on live TV, so we don't want to talk about that. We'll talk about my wife. We'll talk about that with you. Worst date you've ever had. I asked the same thing to Hunter McIntyre.
Yes.
Hunter's story, I had to edit it so much because Hunter McIntyre's Hunter.
gosh.
You know Hunter. Anyways,
Yeah.
so worst date you've been on that wasn't on live TV.
That's a good question. Oh, I don't even know where to go with this. All right, I'll just go with the funny story.
Oh yeah, that's
Just because
worst or funny. I don't care.
I can't even think of the worst right now off the top of my head, but I can think of a date, and I can't remember who it was even. This is a while ago.
We're sorry about that if you're listening.
But this is like my biggest fear of being on a date is like having bad gas or something like that. And I was just like, my stomach was killing me, and like usually I'll let them out, whatever. Like I'm comfortable.
You did
now.
earlier in the kitchen.
Yeah, now I'm like, all right, hey, heads up, like whatever, I don't care. But this was bad. Like my stomach was jacked. Like I'm talking, these were bombs that no one would. I would clear out the restaurant type of like gas.
They're like, there's a propane leak, there's a gas leak around this building.
Yes, and I straight up I was holding it. I had to hold them in.
Yeah,
and. Finally my stomach was hurting so bad it's growling up, and I'm like, I'm gonna just full send.
You didn't say I'm gonna full send to her. Okay.
No, in my mind.
Yeah, in your mind.
And I'm like trying to talk or whatever, get to know her, ask her questions. And in my mind, all I'm thinking about is like
the fact that you need to pass this gas.
Yes.
I can totally relate. Continue.
Yes. And I just started letting it loose. And it just got really awkward.
Okay, like, I mean, just so the audience knows, like, where you're in. Are we in, like, a very nice restaurant where you're very spaced out? Or are we in, like, a very close environment where people are really near you, so you could be like, oh, yeah, dude, it's that old bro right there. Like, he's totally passing gas. Like, were there people, did you blame it on someone else? Because I totally would have. You're a better man than me if you were like, hey, I pass gas.
So now that I'm older and more mature, I would have said something. But like, just
say something like you would have taken the blame for yourself or blamed it on someone else.
Yeah, I would have taken the blame for myself. But this was like awkward. I'm pretty sure I'm still in high school, and I'm at like Chili's, and I don't say a word. And like I hear people behind me in the booth behind me saying like, "Oh my God, what's that smell?" And like I don't say anything. I'm just silent. And I'm just letting it out, and I'm like starting to feel better.
Oh, you're like, oh,
man. I don't say anything though. I don't even say, "Hey, I gotta go to the bathroom." Like I'm just sitting there.
You don't want to give her any inkling that it's you.
Exactly. And she didn't bring anything up, and I know she was just like,
yeah, but
she's hurting over there.
That was a solid story. That's really funny. That's super good. Okay, all right. Okay, so you recently, now that Bachelorette's passed, you have the CrossFit Games. Like, tell people like what are you focusing on right now? Like, what's in your life that you're focusing on? Like, CrossFit, this and that, or what are you looking at right now? What's your future look like?
So I just started the Unbroken Fitness. And I actually don't even really have an official website yet. I'm doing the 30-day Unbroken Fitness Challenge right now.
Across Instagram is what I've been noticing pretty much.
Yep, exactly. And I'm starting the Unbroken Mentality podcast. I'm trying to tie them in together. And so pretty much in a nutshell, I mean, just to kind of carry on the conversation we had earlier about my belief in functional fitness and my just heart for people and wanting them to be the best versions of themselves.
Sure.
And just through fitness. So I have this background of baseball, but also bodybuilding.
Okay.
And also have now through competitive CrossFit and being around professional coaches and guys like yourself, like this huge exposure to what competitive CrossFit looks like.
Uh-huh.
And for a normal person, there's pros and cons to obviously CrossFit and something like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just trying to take the two of those and tie in some more aerobic, just type of training, and combine them and give people workouts, whether they're body weight only and they need minimal equipment, or if they can have access to a gym. And Unbroken Fitness, I'm trying to start my own online. I'm starting my own online personal training / coaching platform.
So
that's where I'm at with that.
Before we get into it, personal training, as in my name is Jacob, I need something personal to me, or is it a template programming?
Both. So I don't have that yet in motion.
Sure.
Right now I'm really just, it's gonna be personal coaching. But then the whole personal training, I guess the more individualized programming, I'm hoping to have soon. But right now, just with things I'm putting together, I'm not offering that yet. But I'm hoping to have that very soon.
Sure. Cool. Okay, so you have Unbroken Fitness, your company, and Unbroken Podcast, which is a content funnel, sales funnel into your Unbroken Fitness. So what else? CrossFit, anything else? Is that pretty much this is Luke Parker right now. This is what I have.
I mean, I have other ideas, and I'm working on some other stuff. And my older brother and I are putting our heads together on a lot of business ideas. And then as well, my dad owns his own business, and I still from time to time put in some work and help him out with some stuff too. And I'm entertaining some business ideas with him as well.
Sure.
So
okay, cool.
And also trying to compete.
Hey, yeah, that's a full-time job.
And eat and train and sleep and recover.
Okay, so let's talk about your hair.
My hair?
Yeah, I said your hair. Let's talk about your hair.
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and talk about super, super important subjects all the time. So how long, when you wake up in the morning, does it take you to do your hair? Your hair is very, very nice looking.
Thank you.
Did you wake up this morning at 5 o'clock and do your hair before we went and worked out?
Yes. No, I didn't.
How long does it take you to do your hair in the morning?
No, so, it really depends. If I'm waking up just to go to the gym or, do some work on the computer, I'm not going to do anything. But, if I'm being honest and I'm going to go, meet up with somebody, there's a lot of times I won't even just fully shower. I'll just throw my hair in the, under the shower and then throw some gel in it.
That makes more sense because earlier, if we ate breakfast, you're like, I'm going to go throw my head in the shower. And I was like, why would he just throw his head in the shower?
Yeah.
You actually meant you were just going to throw your head in the shower.
Yeah. Because if we're on camera, I don't want to have a calyx sticking this way. Because usually, my hair is very long right now for me. I like to go high and tight on the sides, fade, and then
I like the high and
I keep
tight
it kind of
too.
tighter on the top.
Yeah.
So right now, got the military.
Yeah,
you look like a
horse
G.I. Joe.
clippers. Go ahead.
No, but yeah, so when my hair's shorter, it's actually less upkeep, so I don't really have to do much. I don't even really use gel when it's shorter. Yeah. But now that it's longer, I'm definitely.
My mom, when I was in 8th grade, and I was homeschooled and super nerdy, my mom tried to have me wear gel for my 8th grade graduation. I refused. I said, I will not wear gel. It's what women wear. How do you feel about that statement? All right, moving forward. Let's talk. Let's actually switch up gears. Let's actually talk about faith.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So you were obviously on a show, and you had the opportunity to live out your faith that I think in this day and age is convicting to people. And so let's just talk about, maybe walk us through maybe your beginning of your faith, and then we'll kind of talk about living your faith out and go from there.
All right, cool. So, growing up, I grew up in the church.
Okay.
And, I went to church every Sunday and did the whole Sunday school camps and stuff as a kid.
Sure.
And really that was it. Whatever. That was kind of my relationship with God, was on Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. And that was it. I was a good kid on Sunday, and I was like, all right, I'm going to go do whatever I want.
And
play.
breaking windows on Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
A little rebel. But no, I remember like it was yesterday. My dad actually prayed with me, and he led me in a prayer where I accepted Jesus Christ as my personal Lord and Savior. But like I said, my relationship with God was very surface level, so it wasn't very strong. It was good on Sundays. And then, let's fast forward through, middle school, high school. Definitely start. It's not like I'm hanging out, with the completely wrong crowd doing drugs, hardcore things or anything. But, a lot of my friends like to go out and party and drink and stuff. So I was, experimenting with that, definitely hanging out and partying it up, whatever. And then getting into college, same thing. And then I started getting into just sex, just to be straight up, straightforward. And with my faith, I always knew like that wasn't right, and that wasn't
some
kind
of conviction.
Exactly. I wasn't living life according to God's design. But like I never really had a personal relationship with Jesus, and I never really like tried to learn up and study up on any of that stuff, and like wasn't very convicted about living out that way. But I was convicted, like you're saying, about I knew I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was meant for more. And, speed up, like I'm, caught up in that. I'm going out to the bars and the clubs with my baseball teammates and stuff, and I'm going out partying it up, and I'm living it up, and I'm not dating. And if I was dating, it wasn't for marriage. It was to have fun.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm hanging out, doing my thing, and then, it hit me. And not to get into too much detail, but I would remember I was playing summer baseball, and I was in the shower, and
washing your head.
Yeah, and I just remember like thinking of all the things I found my identity in, like being a baseball player, wanting to go pro, wanting to be cool in front of the guys, the guy that could pick up all the girls, all these things I found my identity in that didn't matter, no matter what it was or how I looked or whatever it was, right? And I remember thinking to myself, well, as a believer, like my identity is in Jesus. And I remember being in the shower and like bawling out, crying, and just feeling this. Well, first I was feeling just like I felt like I was at rock bottom. I
Sure.
knew everything I'd been doing was wrong. It's kind of like this guilt and shame feeling. Those are the right words to put it. And then I didn't hear an audible voice or anything. It wasn't like some magical experience, but I felt like God was talking to me. And I remember hearing him tell me, Luke, just let go and follow me. And after that, I just felt like all this weight had been lifted off of me. And I was like, you know what? I need to go read the Word. So I got my nose in the Word right then and there. I didn't even have a Bible with me. All I had was my laptop. I'm in a hotel room with a teammate of mine because we're playing summer baseball, and I'm taking a couple summer classes to catch up on school credits. And I'm just start reading the Bible on my computer. And then that was when, really, in a nutshell, the Holy Spirit was convicting my heart, and that was it. I started seeking a personal relationship with Jesus and started learning and reading really what he was all about, instead of thinking all this other stuff that people would tell me, and just take it upon myself to read and learn for myself. And that was when I started becoming convicted, and my life did a 180. I started dating, for example, and women. I completely regained all those, really my innocent mind again, and it was all right, well, I'm going to date for marriage.
No.
And I'm I'm going to focus on me and my growth as maturity as a man, and my relationship with God, and that's what I'm going to pursue.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good.
So,
and I had some questions that I was just listening to you two in depth, and I completely blanked.
the Bachelorette was, sorry, I kind of got off.
No, you're good.
Well, it's on topic.
Yeah,
but no,
you're good.
The Bachelorette and the whole faith topic, that. Well, let me just back up and say, the Bachelorette was the hardest thing.
Well, I'm sure
that I had ever been through.
Yeah,
hands down. And I go on there thinking, this is gonna be an awesome platform, and I'm gonna be able to, share my faith and live this perfect Christ-like walk. And in reality, I completely flopped, face planted in achieving in that goal, right? And it was altogether the most humbling experience because, I did struggle with pride and many other things when I was there. And it's tough too because, there's. Let me get some water.
Yeah, you're good.
There's. I don't want to make excuses or anything,
yeah.
but there's an edit on the show and everything. And there's all these things I'm accused of being, which I'm not.
Sure.
But one of the things I was accused of was being extremely arrogant and prideful, which the reality is I was. I had all this confidence built up. I get the first impression rose, and I really think I'm gonna have a strong relationship with this girl, and it's gonna work out. And all this confidence build up, whether I like it or not, I'm put in this scenario where it's I'm sharing my girlfriend with 20 plus dudes, and I'm in this competitive environment. So it was tough.
Okay, if you had to have a dog, what kind of dog would you get?
Black lab.
Black lab. You like to hunt? Want a hunting dog?
Yes.
Duck?
Well, let me back up. So like growing up, I had a black lab, and now my brother right now has a black lab, and that's really all I've known as a kid, and I just love labs. So black lab.
Kind of disappointed, to be honest, because there's a corgi at your feet, but it's whatever. We'll step across that.
I love Winston.
Yeah. I'm trying to think here.
Winston is a legend, though.
Winston is a legend.
And his eyes, the eye color.
He's dichromatic.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Someone told me that. Like, he's dichromatic, meaning.
Dichromatic.
So they actually said, like, he's dichromatic, and they think that if your dog's dichromatic, it means he's halfway deaf. I think he just has selective hearing.
Really?
Yeah, so if you call him, he doesn't want to come. He just like, I'm deaf. Like every husband, I have selective hearing too. Like, do the dishes. Oh, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Like,
I told you this. Babe, I really didn't ever hear you say that.
I was running outside. I was trying to get away as far as I possibly can. All right, so let's kind of close it out. So, where can folks find you at from here on out? Like, if they're looking for Unbroken Fitness programming, if they're looking for you on Instagram, social media, whatever the case may be, where can they find you at? So
I would just say Instagram, IG. So Instagram handle is LukeParker_777.
It's not just Luke P. Is Luke P just taken?
It should be the real Luke P.
The real Luke P.
Or the villain.
The villain. Well, I appreciate, and you're Unbroken. You don't have a website just yet. So maybe when you get the website, I'll make sure to put it in the description down below. So if people are interested, they can easily go find where they can get programming for you. For
Unbroken Fitness.
Yeah. For merging bodybuilding with functional fitness.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
I love it too.
And then podcasting, obviously you can find you on iTunes, Apple, something.
Hopefully everything. But
hopefully all over.
I would just keep checking my bio and on Instagram because I'm going to start dropping some links or a link tree and just so you can access me everywhere I am.
Well, my wife's going to sit down with you later today and talk about Bachelorette stuff. We got into a little bit of it, which we couldn't obviously dodge, which is totally fine. But, like, my wife's going to ask you all the great questions. I just want to sit down with you. And honestly, like, my purpose on some of this stuff is, like, I think a lot of people tend to judge what they see when they see people on TV. And I don't want people to think that. I did the same thing for Hunter McIntyre. Like, Hunter sometimes is kind of the villain for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And he has that kind of aurora about him. And you don't have that aurora about you, but you were shown that way to be on a show. And I remember telling Kelly, I was like, I want Luke Parker to come hang out. And she was like, well, he's kind of like a villain. Like, she even said that. I hope she watches this later. She's like, she's kind of like a villain. And I was like, you know what? I was like, I honestly think that I bet you Luke is a really good guy. I bet you we've all made mistakes when we were young. Like, I'm not calling you young and dumb, but like when I was 25, I was doing stupid stuff too. Like, and I said some dumb stuff, and I still do. And I said, I bet you Luke is just like the best
You threw
guy.
baloney on someone's lap before?
No, I haven't done that. But like I've said, I bet you Luke's just an awesome guy, and I bet you he's awesome to be around. I bet you he's just somewhat misunderstood and misedited is almost better because you were edited a little bit weird or bad. I didn't watch it all, so
a little bit weird.
A little bit weird. But I'm super glad you came on here. I hope we have a great time. We have a couple days left working out together, so I'm super excited to get my tail kicked in by you when it comes to snatching and heavy lifting. But anyways, dude, my man.
My dog.
Yeah. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Awesome.
Done.